Hello everyone. Welcome to Tell Stories. I am going to narrate the story of Finding Nemo, a friend in need. Nemo and his friends were about to go on their first expedition to Kelp Canyon. Marlin and Dory were their guides. First, Dory went over the safety rules.
Rule number 1, never leave your buddy behind,
she said. Everyone was listening closely. Everyone except for a green fish named Ward.
I already know about safety. I could lead this trip myself,
grumbled Ward. After Dory finished the safety rules, the group set off. Before long, they came across Bruce the shark.
"G'day,"
said Bruce. "Ah!" screamed the fish. They had never seen a shark so close up before. But Nemo quickly piped up.
"Don't worry, Bruce is my friend. We're not in any danger."
Just then, a plant caught Marlin's eye.
"Now this plant is one you must avoid,"
Marlin instructed the group.
"If you touch it, it will cause an itchy rash."
"Oh! Ah!" Marlin started scratching. He had accidentally touched the plant.
"I've got to go home,"
Marlin said.
"Sorry, kids. We'll have to cancel the trip. You can't go without 2 leaders."
I can be a leader,
Ward suggested, but the other fish just laughed at him. Then Nemo had an idea.
What if Bruce is Dory's co-leader?
Marlin thought for a moment.
"Well, I suppose that will be all right. Just be careful,"
he yelled as he headed home.
"I would love to help you, mates,"
Bruce said.
"I know a swell spot. It's better than Kelp Canyon. How would you like to explore a sunken pirate ship?"
"Yeah!"
exclaimed almost all of the fish.
"What about you, mate?"
Bruce asked Ward. "Doesn't that sound exciting?"
We don't need you. I know lots of good spots,
Ward replied jealously.
And I'm not your mate.
I'll show this shark who should be co-leader, Ward thought. Bruce led Dory and the young fish to the old sunken pirate ship.
"Here we are, mates,"
Bruce said proudly.
"Here's where I used to hang out when I was a mere 9-footer.
"Cool," said Tad. Nemo thought it looked a little scary and dangerous, but also very exciting.
"I can't wait to go exploring,"
he cried. Inside the shipwreck, the group got separated. Nemo realized that Bruce and Ward had both disappeared. He sensed trouble. Nemo found them on the deck of the ship.
Bruce, I think I saw a fish stuck in that cage,
Ward said.
"Really? Well, I've got to go help him out. Fish are friends,"
Bruce said as he swam off to look inside the cage. Nemo raced toward them.
"Bruce, look out! It's a trap!"
he cried. As soon as Bruce heard Nemo, he started bumping around inside the cage. Suddenly, the cage door closed with a slam.
"Ward!"
shouted Nemo.
"You just locked up my friend!"
Good,
Ward shouted back.
Now I can be the co-leader.
Ward sounded brave, but he raced away from the cage as fast as he could. After all, Bruce did have very large teeth.
"Don't worry, Bruce. I'll help you out,"
said Nemo, trying to open the cage.
But it was no use.
The door was stuck.
"I'll get Dory. Maybe she can help."
Nemo quickly swam off. After searching through the ship, Nemo finally found Dory and the rest of the fish.
"I need help.
Nemo said urgently.
Ward locked Bruce up in a big cage.
We don't need him anyway,
Ward said.
I can be the leader.
You locked up Bruce?
Sheldon asked.
He's our buddy. Yeah,
said the other fish.
Bruce is our friend.
I was just trying to...
began Ward. He suddenly felt nervous. He darted beneath a floorboard to hide. But he got stuck. The fish tried to lift the board to pull Ward out, but they weren't strong enough. The board wouldn't budge.
Just go home,
said Ward with a grumble.
I don't need anyone's help anyway.
No way,
said Nemo.
Rule number 1 is never leave your buddy behind. I'll bet Bruce could get him out of there,
said Dory.
But Bruce is stuck in a cage,
Nemo reminded her.
Oh,
said Dory.
Well, we'll just have to get him out first.
Dory instructed the other fish to stay put. Then she and Nemo raced off. At the cage, Dory and Nemo pushed and pulled as hard as they could to get Bruce free. But the cage door wouldn't budge.
Bruce, you've got to break free. Ward got stuck and he needs your help,
Nemo said. That was all Bruce needed to hear. He broke right through the cage. Then he swam over to Ward, and with his mighty strength, Bruce freed him.
Hooray!
Shouted the other fish. On the way home, Ward apologized to Bruce.
I'm sorry,
he said.
I guess I have a lot to learn. I thought I was ready to be co-leader.
No worries, Bruce said kindly. I shouldn't have taken you to such a dangerous place. It looks like we both have a lot to learn. So, are we mates? Ward was thrilled and relieved that Bruce wasn't mad at him. Mates, he said excitedly. After all, he had never had a shark for a friend before. A little later, Nemo swam over to Bruce.
Thanks for saving Ward, even though he wasn't being nice,
Nemo said. It was nothing, mate, replied Bruce. Besides, that's what friends are for.
That's the end. For more such interesting stories, please subscribe to our channel, Tell Stories.